friends, and welcome to this Henna Therapy session, especially for burnt out, overwhelmed mums. So grab a henna cone, some pen and paper, or simply just listen, watch and meditate on the art and the words in this video. I'd love us to start by taking a few long, deep breaths into ourselves, allowing us to connect to our bodies and to this present moment. Often as mums, some of us don't even get time to do that, so let's do that together right now. I'd love you to start just by taking one long, deep breath into your nose, and then holding that breath inside the body just for a few moments, and then releasing it completely from the body. And just do that a couple of times more. And as you breathe in, just really feel that breath, that air entering your body. Feel it as it fills your body. And then just follow that breath as it leaves the body and enters the air all around you. And just notice how the breath that you're taking in, the very air that you're taking in, is the same air that you're breathing out. Notice how the breath serves as a bridge between your inner and outer world. So just breathe a couple of times and focus on what I just said just right there. That your breath serves as a bridge between your inner and outer world. And let's get into today's session, so you can listen to these words and follow along with the art, and I'll explain everything that is happening in the video, as well as sharing maybe not some words of wisdom, but just some words that maybe I need to hear myself as a stressed, burnt out, overwhelmed mum. Often as mums in the society that we live in, we're often not appreciated or celebrated for the fact that we probably do the most difficult job in the world. And it's difficult, yes, but it's also very beautiful. But we have to admit that it really is hard, and sometimes it can be so lonely when you feel so alone in the struggles that come with mothering, with parenthood, and with trying to be the best version of yourself while trying to be the best mother that you can be to your children. Motherhood is such a unique journey that is equally brutal and beautiful. It leaves no woman the same as it did when it found her, and I know for me personally, it has been the most profound journey of self-discovery, strength, cultivating wisdom, and being tested beyond what I even thought I could bear. As you can see, this design starts with a heart right in the center of the hand, and I feel like the heart perfectly encapsulates what motherhood is all about. It's just love, isn't it? It's pure, profound love for our children. We're rebirthed in the moment that we give birth to our children, and we experience love like we've never known before. At the same time, it doesn't take away from the fact that motherhood is so incredibly hard. But with this design, I want to remind you that love is at the center of everything. Love is at the center of motherhood. Love is at the center of life. And it may sound cliche, and it may be thrown about a bit too often, but love is everything. Love is who we are. Love is to what we will return. And I think to live a happy, peaceful, present life, we have to connect to that love always. That being said, for many of us, motherhood does consume our everyday lives. It requires us to put ourselves aside, to sometimes, more often than not, neglect our own needs to ensure we are always doing best by our children. Because I believe healing our world begins with raising children as consciously as possible, and that is a big responsibility, and one that sometimes I find a bit too difficult to bear. Because it is such a massive responsibility when you're aware of yourself, all the healing that you need to do for yourself, but yet at the same time your everyday life is consumed by taking care of these children, their physical needs, their emotional needs. It's just a lot. So I just want you to know that I'm there with you, that I'm experiencing this too, and that you're not alone. So to connect the heart to the finger, I've created this design. So we have got a flower coming out of the center of the top of the heart, and a beautiful vine, and a bit of a ring to end at the top of the finger. And this is all just quite dainty and pretty, because at the end of the day we are women, and as mums sometimes we do put our own self-care. Even sometimes, some days I don't even brush my hair because I don't get a chance. I'm sure some of you have been there. So just to take the time to create something pretty and dainty on the hand, it can just help us to connect to the feminine within us, to our feminine energy, and to remind us that as well as mothers, we are women, and we deserve to feel beautiful and feminine and soft. So yeah, this part of the design is all for that. If you are a mum watching this, maybe you haven't had any time to yourself in a while. Time, remember that thing that once we just completely took for granted? Oh, how I wish I had so much more of it. Maybe you don't have the time to focus on your own hobbies or projects. Maybe you feel like you're watching life go by from the sidelines as you raise your beautiful children, and you feel like you're not really a part of any of it. Maybe you don't even have the mental or physical capacity to take on more than you're already holding. I want this Henna Therapy session to be a special gift just for you, to remind you that even though you have one of the most difficult jobs in the world, that you are enough, that you're amazing. You are absolutely amazing, and that you are doing great. You're doing just great, Mama. So I'm now working on the next part of this design, and this includes vines leaving from the bottom of the heart and going down onto the wrist. As you can see, for the first one here, I've kind of just draped 2 lines and dotted them, and then the next set of lines I'm doing vines, and then for the third set, which is coming in a moment, I'm going to do dots again. And I've chosen 3 vines on my design, particularly because I have 3 children, and each of these vines represents each one of my children. So if you have more children, if you have less children, or if you're doing this for a client and it is a Henna Therapy session, then obviously adjust to however many children you have or they have. And I wanted to do this, I wanted to incorporate our children into the design, because it's such a nature inspired design. It's all about growth, and we've got the vines, we've got the flower, we've got the other vine on the finger, and this all represents growth. And as mothers, we are constantly growing from day to day to day. We're constantly learning, we're changing, we're evolving, we are becoming completely new people. And I wanted to encapsulate that and symbolize that in this henna design somehow. So this is how I did it for this. Obviously, if you have like maybe 10 children, I don't think anybody has 10 children anymore. I don't think we're in that era anymore, but if you do, wow, I have no words. But say you have 5 children, which is still a lot. You could do a couple of the vines a bit further up on the hand rather than down onto the wrist. But yeah, just do it as you see fit. So now as you watch me just create the bracelet design on the wrist and connecting everything together, I'd just like to read some words I wrote a while back, maybe a few years back actually. I think it's been quite a while, but I think they're really relevant to this video. And if you can, just reflect and meditate on them as I speak. and relate them to your own life and see where they fit with your own experience. So what is the reality of being a mother? Well, motherhood is exhausting. It's arduous, it's lonely. Motherhood is dragging your eyelids open and forcing yourself out of bed to get your children breakfast at 7:30 a.m. on a Saturday morning when all you want to do is sleep. Motherhood is mustering every ounce of strength you have in you to persevere through those first few weeks of torturous breastfeeding, and then making the choice to endure 2 years of interrupted sleep to give your child the best possible start in life that you could physically give them. Motherhood is spending your days and nights cleaning and mopping up poo, wee and vomit. Motherhood is sacrificing your alone time for more time with them. Motherhood is sometimes not even getting any alone time at all. Motherhood is cancelling plans last minute with friends and family because your child is getting the sniffles. Motherhood is spending hours putting your children to sleep after running around after them all day and then working well into the night to meet work deadlines. Motherhood can be so incredibly lonely, despite you never actually being alone. A strange type of loneliness in itself. Motherhood is hard. But let me tell you something. Motherhood allows you to experience a love so pure that it simply can't be expressed in words. Motherhood is waking up to see a gorgeous little toothless grin waiting for you as the sun begins to peek silently through the curtains, eradicating the frustration of another night of broken sleep. Motherhood is gasping in amazement as your child tells you the most wonderful, imaginative story about their day, and genuinely feeling amazed at just how incredible and creative these little beings are. Motherhood is cuddles and kisses with the most special people you will ever know, knowing that these moments will not be forever. Motherhood is those precious times when all 3 children are miraculously asleep and you just look at them in awe, not quite believing just how incredibly lucky you are. Motherhood is knowing that the bond you share with them is one that can never be broken. Motherhood is a love so fierce and so strong that it can and will take your breath away many, many, many a time. Motherhood is simultaneously the most blessed, most difficult, most beautiful experience that I believe a woman can have. Yes, it's challenging. Yes, sometimes I want to put my kids on eBay or run away for a day or two. Yes, it's demanding and painful and lonely and exhausting. And yes, I probably cry at least once a week when it all gets on top of me, and boy, do I sometimes fall down a rabbit hole reminiscing over my life before kids. But you know what? Despite all of that, I feel so incredibly blessed and grateful for this experience that is moulding me into an indestructible human being, both mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So, the reality of being a mother, well, it's really, really effing hard, but it's also really effing beautiful. It really is. And that brings us nicely to the last part of this design, where I'm adding the most important words that whenever you're struggling with motherhood and you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed or burnt out or stressed out, just look down at your hand and you'll see the words that maybe you need to hear the most. And they are, "You're doing great, Mama." So this was really hard to do on myself, by the way. And in this part of the clip, I'm literally writing upside down, and I think I did a pretty good job of it. But yeah, you're just going to write the words "you're doing great" around both sides of the heart. They're a little bit inconspicuous, so yeah, somebody would have to get really close to see what it says. But this isn't for anybody else. This is for you, to remind you that you are an amazing woman, to have grown children, to have birthed children, to have brought children into this world, and to be raising them with the love, the courage, the conviction that you have. It's for you, to remind you that you are doing great, Mama. You are doing an incredible job. And I just want you to know that when things get hard, when things get tough, you are still doing a great job, and that you really, really, really are never alone. Wow, I feel like this henna therapy session ended up being for me just as much as it was for you. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I really loved putting this together for you guys. Please do like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff to help me to continue making more videos like this. And of course, on my channel you'll also find spiritually inspired mandala art created using acrylic paint cones, so I'd love you to check that out. And once again, just thank you so much for listening, for watching, for being a part of this beautiful process. And I'll see you guys very, very soon. Sending you love.